Frederick Township Board of Supervisors General Meeting, August 5th of 2025.
Just plug it into your. Yeah, that's true. It was a little loose.
Okay, never a dull moment. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call this evening, all in attendance. Vice Chair Marla Hexter will be on Zoom this evening. Staff members present, Township Manager, Solicitor, and Engineer. Township meetings are recorded for the purpose of preparing the minutes, and the recording is destroyed after the minutes are approved. The meeting will be posted online on the Township YouTube channel. The link can be found on the Board of Supervisors page on the Township website. It is requested that all persons wishing to speak before the board shall state their name, address, and the business of the board. All persons addressing the board shall be limited to 3 minutes unless such time is extended by the chair for good cause. Individuals are requested to remain in their seats and to respect when other persons are speaking. The Board of Supervisors will provide a reasonable opportunity for citizens to comment on any non-agenda items after all agenda items have been addressed, but prior to the adjournment of the public meeting. We had an executive session this evening before this evening's meeting to discuss legal and real estate matters. Okay. So this evening's administrative actions, we have our meeting minutes from April 1st, April 22nd, May 7th, and May 27th. Has everyone had a chance to review them? Have you any questions or changes to be made? Okay. So all those in favor, passing the meeting minutes, say aye.
I have just one amendment to the May work session minutes. There's one date that's off. I think we're trying to figure out what the correct date is, and then
Okay,
we'll
so
change that over.
is that May 7th or is it the 27th?
No, the workshop.
Oh, the 27th then?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to pass the, approve the April 1st, the April 22nd, and the May 7th meeting minutes this evening.
And you can approve the May 28th.
May 27th, the 27th with the amendments.
With the amendment to the date regarding the burning ordinance discussion.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Are we making a motion for all four?
Yes,
Okay, yeah. Chuck Yeisel will make the motion.
I will make the second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Our treasurer's report?
Okay, so this is the treasurer's report through July 31st. Highlights, we did the transfers to the sewer capital fund and the general funds, to the capital fund, sorry. For the sewer fund, this included the 50% transfer from tapping fees received due to the current sewer fund balance. We only did 200,000. The remaining balance will be done by the end of the year. There's currently another, I believe, 160,000 that would need to get transferred. As far as the performance of the general fund, net income is 124,278, which is outperforming the budget by 69,821. For revenue, we're over budget by 7.3%, or 125,000. The strongest performers continues to be the charges for services, which is permits primarily, which is 86,000 over budget, and our weakest performer is real estate transfer, which is 9,000 under budget. Year to date, we've received 73.7% of our annual revenue budgeted. As far as expenses, we're over budget by 3.3% or 55,000. Key drivers for that would be repair and maintenance to the township building, wages patrol officers, consultant for zoning building, the road bridges contractors and contracted services, which that's actually where the mowing is going, the third-party mowing. We're getting savings in legal services, police O&M, public works wages, and line striping. Year-to-date budget progress, we're at 63% of our annual expense budget. General capital fund, end of the month, and with a net income of $42,000, we're over for revenue by $163,000 due to the unbudgeted DCD grant, the public works donation, and we've spent $28,172 under budget due to the Spring Mount sidewalk release and public works equipment not purchased. Sewer fund, we're into the month with a net income of negative $204,000, which is $162,000 under budget. Revenue, we're 5.9% or $46,000 under budget. Our sewer rent charges is 2.4, $16,000 under budget. And our connection tap-in fees is 51.8% or $31,000 under budget. Expenses were $14,000 or $116,000 over budget. This is spread out broadly across multiple line items with utilities, supply chemicals, and transfer to sewer capital from tapping fees being the big drivers for the negative balance. Year-to-date budget progress, we've received 59.4% of our 2025 budget and spent 70.2% of our expenses. Sewer capital fund has a net income of $315,000. We're $192,000 over budget. That's primarily for the 2023-2024 tapping fees received. And we did do the $118,895 transfer for the sewer CIP contribution. So far, we've only expended $6,900 for the Zieglerville Road sewer extension planning. Liquid fuels fund, we had a net income of negative $21,427, which is exceeding budget by $50,871. For revenue, we're $5,200 over budget at $177,020. And expenses, we're $45,668 under budget at $198,447. We've had road salt, the 2021 F-550 truck loan payment, and the 2025 oil and chip project. Year to date, we've received 100.4% of our revenue and expended 80.8%. The open space fund, net income of $30,208, exceeding budget by $83,000. Revenue, we're at $66,556, which is $7,500 over budget. Expenses, we're at $36,000, which is $75,000 under budget. We've expended for EIT commission, the 138 Year Road legal review and Barber property legal review, the county ag contribution. Available funds is $326,267, which excludes the allocations for the federal Highlands grant for conservation easement, natural lands conservation easement. Year-to-date budget progress, 58.2% of the revenue has been received. We've only expended 25.6%. And as far as the ARPA funds, year-to-date, we spent a total of $125,774. We have one project remaining and $18,000. As part of the $18,000 balance, there's interest involved in that. So we're almost done with the ARPA COVID relief fund. Any questions?
So for the open space fund, the expenses of $36,000, the bulk of that is really the contribution, right? The
Yes,
ag
$30,000 was a contribution.
Right,
And then,
okay,
yep.
so really, it's only $6,000 other than that.
And they're primarily under budget. We would have expected to have expended for the Highlands grant for the Barber property, which hasn't happened yet, so.
Okay. And we move on to the payment of bills for June 28th to August 1st of 2025. The general fund for $141,069.80. The sewer fund for $55,217.02. Liquid fuels for $37,335. Open space fund for $924, and the ARPA COVID relief funds for $47.15 and 12 cents. Jason, could I have a total on that? Yeah. We don't need a total. We can probably move forward. To pay the bills as is. Okay. Okay. Would anyone like to make the motion?
Sure. Chuck Geiser will make the motion to approve payment for the various amounts that have been read off by our chair for the general fund, sewer fund, liquid fuels fund, open space fund, and ARPA/COVID relief fund.
Is there a second?
And this is Marla. I will second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Move on to our. Yes, please. Thank you. That was $239,260.94. Thank you, Peter. We'll move on to our professional and staff reports. We can start this evening with Carol, our engineers report.
Thank you. The first two items on my report appear later on tonight's agenda, so I'll jump over those for now. But the informational is that the Springmount Road Culvert and Sidewalk Project request for reimbursement of $200,000 has been submitted to the county per the Montco 2040 funding agreement. On Gerloff Road, AMS has returned to address bleeding on these exceedingly hot days we had this past month. Repair work will occur later this season. At Farmview Estates, I'm pleased to say the pavement profile near the manhole on Little Road was reworked this past week. Walking trail has been paved from Coble Park through the project and along Little Road, and home construction continues. At 225 Big Road, JEP or Gentera project, I've received plans and supporting reports that were recently submitted for this 30-lot subdivision on Big Road opposite the middle school, and those plans are currently under review. We hope to have a review ready in advance of the August Planning Commission meeting. Other items on my report are either no change since last report or individual property permits.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? Okay. Solicitors report? None. Okay. Moving on to our township staff reports, please.
Okay, so this is July 2025 police activity. Calls for service, they had 314, 31 traffic enforcement details, traffic enforcement stops, 76, and 63 traffic citations issued. The members of the police department conducted mandatory recertification for the department-issued TASER ECW weapons. Our Officer Kaminsky attended Glock Armor School. This training and certification will allow the police department to have an officer qualified to inspect department-issued handguns and conduct initial repairs and maintenance when necessary. Officer Lauer attended domestic terrorism and radicalization training, which was presented by the Pennsylvania Office of Homeland Security. This training provided up-to-date overviews of numerous domestic terror indicators and criminally subversive subcultures. This training also focused on identifying individuals and groups who attempt to advance social or political beliefs through force or violence. Chief Cass attended the first public safety roundtable, which was hosted by State Senator Tracy Pennicook and PA State Attorney General Dave Sunday. Host of topics issue related to law enforcement challenges across the Commonwealth. He's provided speed data collected for Springmount Road at Village Drive. The speed sign and subsequent data collected showed that the sign was 55% effective in slowing motorists down traveling along Springmount Road. He did also attach a press release for a stalking case in which the police department has been investigating over the last several weeks. He would like to acknowledge both Corporal Dave Milligan and Officer Ed Bacon for their hard work, which resulted in a felony arrest. The police department currently has several additional open criminal investigations. As these cases are prosecuted, this information will be shared with the Board of Supervisors. And the Lower Frederick Department family has grown recently as Officer Kaminsky and his wife welcomed a baby girl. Mom and baby are doing great.
Okay, congratulations to him. Okay, fire?
All right, looks like me again. So for the month of July, they had 20 calls to service. Looks like 1, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, looks like 12 were in Lower Frederick, I believe. So I don't,
Okay, it appears we have ambulance, public works, sewer, and zoning, and I think you're probably going to
yep.
handle every one of them. So why don't you just go right through them and tell us what you're reading about?
Can do. So for the ambulance, for the month of June, they had 18 total calls in Lower Frederick with a total year-to-date of 129. In their primary coverage area, they had a monthly total of 93, the year-to-date total of 482. Mutual aid, which is outside their primary coverage area, they did 24 in June with a year-to-date total of 150. Onto the Public Works report, they completed 7 sump pump inspections, installed speed limit signs on Zieglerville Road, repainted speed lines for the police department, responded to multiple callouts for trees down on roads, managed the mowing contractors, painted parking lines at Coble Park, moved signs and barricades into 20 feet shipping container, which would be the connexes they've received, clean wood guardrail at Cuddy Park. They did preventive maintenance, or preventive maintenance was completed on the generator of the sewer plant of the township office building. Preventive maintenance was completed on the UV system at the sewer plant. 3 storm inlets were fully repaired on Overlook Drive. They finished the grading around Delphi Lift Station generator pad, checked and cleaned storm inlets after rain events, and they started the fence around the shipping containers. That's been started. So something new, we now have a sewer engineer's report. So as was previously reported, and actually was in this bill's list, we did have the first, or the start of the I&I project with Sewer Specialty Services. We are waiting for storm events to televise existing sanitary sewer, so we are, I believe we're back on the schedule, or trying to get back on the schedule. Mr. Preston has been working with Melbourne Hill and Farmview Estates subdivisions. Currently, we have 2 active individual connections at Little Road and 4th Avenue we've been working on, or he's been working on. He's reviewing the 225 Big Road, the Gentera tract, as part of the, as Carol had, as part of the preparation for that plan review by the Planning Commission, and an update for the Zieglerville Road lower pressure sanitary sewer. He has provided the sanitary sewer design. Right now, he is getting updated pricing for the boring contractor, and he's expecting to have that this week. And at that point, then I will share with the board, and we will move forward if it's not gone up. He says the quote was about 2 years as far as the pricing with what he gave us as part of his quote last year.
So I do have a question. I believe with the I&I, they would go out, they would do so much work. We would get a report back to decide how we wanted to move forward, if we wanted to do more I&I or if we wanted to do repairs. So we had to wait to pay them to get the report. So I'm hoping at the next meeting, we might have a report.
Obviously, it's going to depend on how quick they can get that.
Get it to us.
That to Bob, and then for him to review. But that is, they were waiting for payment, and he will get that data and
We can make a decision on how we move forward.
Currently, as far as they let us, there was no major repairs or repairs needed from what because they would have, it was that option that if they could repair while they were there, but nothing was significant enough, but.
Right. So I think it was, what was the budget for that again? 31?
I believe it's 31.5.
31 and some change. We just spent like
10.
10 something. Okay, so we still have some wiggle room to do more I&I.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so the zoning report. In the month of July, we received 9 building permits, 8 zoning permits for a total of 17. We had received 12 building permits and 12 zoning permits for a total of 24. 3 building permits were closed out. 4 zoning permits were closed out for a total of 7. We had 4 resale UNOs, 11 burn permits, and we received 3 pumping reports.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on any of these reports? Okay, not seeing any. We can move on to our first order of business is the artisan land development.
Board and commission reports.
My bad, I'm so sorry. Thank you, thank you. Township Board and Commissioners reports, the EAC.
The EAC met on July 14th, and our committees brought back information. The Green Energy Committee discussed efficient building practices such as roof, vents, and ridges, and that's what our Did You Know is going to be about this month, how that flow of air can help cool your home. Our Stormwater Management Committee talked about how well the Perkiomen Watershed Conservation's program on having a rain garden in your own backyard went. There weren't a lot of people, but the people that were here were very engaged, and they bought plants from the PWC to plant in their backyards. Our Outdoor Lighting Committee has been working all year on a draft for a dark skies resolution. So the resolution will provide our residents with information about the level of kelvins, which is essentially the color of the light. So if you have amber to orange or a candle light on, that's better for dark skies than a blue white or a very white. So that resolution will be coming to you soon. We just got that to Jason, and he'll forward that to you as can be. And we also had a migratory bird walk that was held at the Hollywood Trail for the Perkiomen Trail, and that was very good. And we're going to have another migratory bird watch walk on October 12th. So mark it on your calendars. The Perkiomen Pacers from the Park Board are going to participate, and also the Perkiomen Bird Town also advertises. And it's a really nice path if you've never been on the Hollywood Trail before. You might be using our recycling bins at Cuddy and Coble Park, and that was also the township, our Park Board, and the EAC purchasing them, putting them, and now clearing them out, and they are being used, and I hope they're very visible so everybody can use those. The EAC needs to sign up for more slots to clean them up. The Park Board's doing a lot of the work, so they did that. And really that's it, except that our Did You Know is about a house ventilation and how air movement can cool your home. So that will be listed on our Did You Knows on the website. Any questions about anything? All right.
Thank you, Diane. The Open Space Committee?
Good evening. The Open Space Committee met on July 9th. Relatively short meeting, but while we were meeting, we reviewed the discussion on the landmasser property matter that the board had undertaken at its July 1st meeting, and more or less reaffirmed our agreement with continued efforts to keep the easement in place through trail development efforts. So we will be awaiting any further developments with regards to that. And after that, there was continued discussion on planning for our Volunteer Day event, which we are hoping to do later in the fall. And it is my expectation that I will have more details for this after our next meeting, at which we're going to try to firm up some of the still remaining details that need to be finalized. But we expect to have enough that we can be talking about that in terms of promotion soon. So that was it primarily for the public session. We then went into executive session to discuss property matters that the committee's looking into. Um, so that is what I have for updates. I can look to answer any questions that anyone on the board or anyone else might have.
I have none. Does anyone? Okay. Thank you, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Planning Commission?
The Planning Commission met on July the 17th. We were tasked with one agenda item, and that was a review of the sewage facility application for 3 residential properties along Little Road. The Planning Commission is required under state law to review and comment on any sewage facilities planning, and we took that issue up. It was basically a situation where a waiver was denied for the sewage facilities planning, so it was required that we take it up and review it and give our approval for the application to sewer those 3 residential properties. The discussion was very quick. We felt that it meshed, that application meshed with the objectives of our comprehensive plan and our sewage goals for the township. So we quickly approved the ability of the township manager to complete the application process and forward that to the DEP so that project would not be held up. It was a very quick meeting, and incidentally, the quickness of that meeting has made us hopeful that we are on the Guinness Book of World Records for the shortest PC meeting that ever existed. So that was the extent of the meeting, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
I have no questions at this time. Does anyone else? Okay, thank
Thank you.
you, Phil. Last but not least, the Park and Rec Board.
Okay, so unlike Phil, our meetings might get the Guinness Book of World Records for longest meetings. But anyway, we did meet last night and we did finalize the park board priorities that the board had requested. So Jason, I'll be getting those over to you this week. Happy to answer any questions that you might have or provide any additional clarification that you need. Our survey is up to 152 respondents. We had 128 last time, so just ask people to share it on social media. And if you need flyers to put up in places, we're more than happy to give them to you. We do plan on closing this in October after our final event. And then at that point, we'll review the data, consolidate it, and then report back. So July was a really busy month. We had our first concert in the park, and that was Left Edge, and it was well received. Stories in the Park, they came out and they did a great job. They probably had about 15 to 20 attendants, so that was good. Book club, Country Chef provided breakfast, and we had good discussion. And then we did have a wildlife walk around on the 19th. Attendance was pretty low. People that did come did have positive feedback. It was hot, so some people may have just called in hot. Upcoming events, we did have to activate the rain date again, kind of crashing and burning with the rain dates, but it's going to be this Thursday, and the band is going to be Smooth Riders, and then Taste of Grace is going to be the vendor. We also have book club this Saturday at Cuddy Park. We're going to be reading, or we should have read, The Listeners by Maggie Stepfather, and then Snoozies is going to be providing breakfast. Second Stories in the Park is going to be next Thursday, 14th, at Coble. Our Community Art Day is going to be on August 16th with a rain date of August 17th, so we do hope to see everybody out there. We've been getting positive feedback on the fences over after they've been pressure washed. People ask the township to replace the fences. So, but we just if you can promote that event, that would be great. And then our third and final concert is going to be on the 28th. It's going to be the Mighty Manatees, and then Waffle Cabin will be the vendor. We are expecting a big turnout. Last year, we ran out of parking spaces, so we are looking forward to that. And then I do try to just report on the current month's events, but we do have Movie on the Mountain coming up. That's going to be on September 6th. The rain date is the 13th. Wild Robot is going to be the movie, and then Johnny's Pizza, they officially offered a 20% discount on pizzas the day of the event. Upper Salford Township is going to be contributing to our efforts, and we're waiting to hear back from Upper Fred and Schweinsville, so hopefully it'll be a big collaborative effort. And then we will be stuffing movie goodie bags on the 25th over at Petty Park at 5 p.m.
Sorry, the microphone is not working.
Oh, is that
There you
better?
go. Yeah.
Okay, I was trying not to stand too close because it was crackling. So I was just saying that we'll be stuffing bags for the movie on August 25th at 5 p.m. at Cuddy Park. And then finally, we are in need of puzzles for our puzzle exchange. So if you have any puzzles at home, feel free to bring them over and put them on the shelf. Any questions?
No, but that was a great report. Thank you.
I have one question. And
Sure.
Sorry, I missed your earlier concert, but at the one that's coming Thursday, whoever the MC is, they do give like a shout out for the survey, right? For Cobalt, yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I hope to be there.
Yep, perfect. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, that's the end of our board and commissions reports. Now we can move on to our business, and we're going to start off with the Artists and Land Development. Good evening, Jackie.
Good evening, Madam Chair. How are you?
Good, how are yourself?
So I'll start off with this. What we have before you tonight is basically two items. They're preliminary. I have drafted an ordinance that's required for the boundary line change. The draft has been provided to Perkiomen, but I have not heard back from them yet. They got it at the end of last week, so it's not like they've been sitting on it. The other item before you is just, in theory, how you want to see the boundary line play out, i.e., exactly how we're going to change the boundary line. Perkiomen has said, and we agree, we generally agree with them, that the entire intersection between Centennial and the new proposed road, it'd be easier if that entire intersection was located in Perkiomen, which does make sense. Our comment to this was ideally, and I think it's based on some of the board's comments in a previous meeting, we would like to see a balanced plan where the square footage being transferred to Perkiomen is equal to the square footage being transferred to Lower Frederick. So what I'm looking for you tonight is basically at this time twofold, just to move things along. First off, I'm looking for authorization once Perkiomen Township and myself, once we agree upon a language for the ordinance, to move forward with the advertising of that ordinance and setting up the initial, putting it on the agenda for what's called the introduction of that ordinance, which then sets up the process for its enactment. The enactment of this ordinance is a little more complicated than your normal municipal ordinance. And then the second thing I'm looking for from you is just an okay as to how we want to undertake the actual plan of the boundary line dispute. Are you good with a balanced plan? Are you good with having that intersection entirely within Perkiomen Township? And if you can just give us direction on that, then I think we can continue moving forward on this.
Does anyone have comments on that? Any thoughts?
Peter, so how would that work if the intersection is completely in Perkiomen Township, but that corner lot is in Lower Frederick, and some of the people across the street are also in Lower Frederick? It's going to be, maybe I'm missing something. It sounds complicated.
It's the boundary line is going to run along the right-of-way line of Centennial Street, until it hits the right-of-way line of the new road, and then run along the right-of-way line of the new road. And then basically then run along the side boundary line of the new lot in Lower Frederick Township. So all of Centennial Street that is currently within Lower Frederick Township will remain in Lower Frederick Township.
Okay, I think it'll make more sense if I see it, but I'm okay with
If
that.
you look, Jason keep going, Jason. Okay. I think Jason's trying to upload the plan, a draft plan that Carol's put forth. Next one. There, yeah. So do you see that, Marla?
Yes,
Okay, so that big purple triangle, that's what we're talking about.
okay. And what are the green triangles?
The green triangle, so the two purple triangles are land that's currently in Lower Frederick Township that will be transferred to Perkiomen Township. And the two green triangles is land in Perkiomen Township that will be transferred to Lower Frederick. And in the balance plan, the square footage of the purple will equal the square footage of the green.
Got it, thank you.
So just to circle back, I mean, really, what's driving this is our previous experiences having lots that are split between two townships and wanting to avoid that, right?
Yes, and there's, having the split lots also causes zoning issues.
Right.
For the developer. So this would address their zoning issues, but also would address future, the problems with the future residents.
So do you just need consensus on this balance issue, or do you need a vote?
Yes, yeah, we don't need an official vote. If you can give us consensus, then obviously the developer will hear that, and we can also then relay it to Perkiomen.
So what we're looking at now, is this balanced?
It's balanced, but it's unengineered.
Okay.
So if you look carefully at it, you actually will notice that the square footage doesn't exactly equal, but that's because it's an unengineered plan. And so Artisan, the developer, once they know exactly what the two townships want, it'll be on their plate to actually engineer it and ensure that the green and the purple are equal, and give us exact mets and bounds of what exactly is going to be transferred between the two townships, as well as the mets and bounds of the current boundary line and the mets and bounds of the future boundary line.
Okay, does anyone have any other comments, questions about this?
Other than to say, I'm fine with this approach.
Same here.
I am as well.
I'm fine with that.
Thank you. And then are we good with, and once again, I don't need a vote. Actually, no, for this, I probably should have a vote. If you can give me a vote stating that you're authorizing me to move forward with the finalizing and then advertisement of the ordinance once we agree upon language with Perkiomen Township.
So we can do both of those in one motion,
Yes,
put it together and advertise?
yes.
Okay. I will make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Okay. I was just going to give Jackie a chance in case she had
I
anything.
apologize.
I mean, this is the first time that Artisan has seen this, so.
It has been provided to Joan. Joan London does have a copy of it.
Today, or,
No, last week.
so I know that it was referenced as an attachment in the Thursday email, but then it was not attached, and then.
Yeah,
She then
I
reached
did.
out.
I think I corrected that mistake and sent us a later email attaching it. If you still don't have it, I'll provide it.
Right, we don't.
Okay.
And I guess the only other question is the relevance of that, the timeline that you had referenced in your correspondence with Joan. as far as the requirement that we would need to have everything completed on this in order to be filing it with the county by October 31st, 28th.
I think, as far as Lower Frederick is concerned, as long as things move along, we're going to try to meet that deadline. But obviously, we also, are beholden to what Perkiomen does, and we got to work things out with them. So as far as we're concerned, we're going to try to meet it, but obviously something could pop up that will throw a roadblock in there.
And I just wanted to have it on the record that, that because if it is not received by the county and that by the end of October, then it would not be then applicable to January 1st, 2026. You would then have to go and wait until January 1st, 2027. And obviously that would not be something that Artisan would be interested in pursuing. So that is what, it's not an artificial deadline. It's part of the Act 41 requirements in order to meet with this.
Yeah, and we're aware of that. And Jackie, just so that you know, if something does happen and that we don't get it, so it can get into effect January 1st, 2026, I think there are ways we can deal with that in working with you. So I would not be so overly concerned with that deadline.
So if you've already shared it with Joan, if as Artisan is the applicant, if we could receive a copy of whatever this is tomorrow.
I'll make sure you guys have copies
Okay.
of the plan. And like I said in my email last week, once Perkiomen and us are agreed generally on the language of the ordinance, we'll provide that to you also.
Okay.
I'm sorry for the interruption there.
Jackie, do you have any other comments or questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming. Okay, the motion was made, second was made. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
So just so everybody knows, this is something that's going to play out over a series of months, right?
At least 3 more meetings.
Right. So that's why we're trying to get a schedule together so that nobody is saying, hey, you didn't tell me about this or whatever. And obviously, we expect to have all the documents from the applicant with enough time for our engineer and solicitor and anybody else who needs to look at them to digest them and understand them and advise us as to how we should move forward.
And in this regard, we haven't gotten updated plans in about 6 months.
Thank you for that clarification, Chuck. I appreciate that. Okay, next on our agenda this evening is the Willows to Smith Road subdivision for SBA analysis.
Hi, I'm John Bonk with Urban Engineers. On behalf of the developer for the Willows, we submitted a tentative sketch plan in June for review by the township engineer, Carol. We received comments back, and one of the comments was to explore, make sure that the sewer has capacity for our development. So we reached out to the Swangsville Borough of Authority, and they stated that they need a request from the township with township letterhead to do the analysis to explore if there's sewer capacity for our development. Originally, we had I think about 23 lot proposed development. After the review, we're reducing the development to about 9 new houses, 8 townhomes and 1 detached single-family home. So I'm here to make that request to the township to have that letter developed and submitted to the borough for them to do their analysis.
Does anyone have any questions or comments?
This is more of a mechanical thing. Does this letter need to mention the number of EDUs we're talking about, or is this just an open letter that would go to SBA?
I think it would be helpful if it mentioned the number of EDUs. This is the first I've heard 9, but I think it would be helpful to mention that.
I mean, Carol, it's basically, the SBA wants us to say, hey, we're fine with if you guys supplying sewer and water service to this particular property. And it's really the first step into formalizing, adding it basically to our Act 537 plan and allowing the water service there, correct? Is that?
Well, I was even taking a step back from that a little bit, that the township is fine with SBA evaluating the potential for
Right.
capacity. We're going to have to go through actual sewage planning, sewage facilities planning modules before we can, as a township, and the board can vote on their perspective for sewering this development. But this is an early step to say, as requested by Schwenksville's authority, this is an early step to say the township does not have objection to Schwenksville evaluating their capacity to serve this development so that they could move forward with sewage planning.
Yeah, I think it's just the authority trying to be polite to the township and not step on our toes. And 1, 2, not spend a whole bunch of money, then have the township saying, what are you doing?
And this is in no way an
Well said.
authorization to allow it to happen. It's just the authorization to let them do the analysis.
Exactly, thank you, perfectly described.
But I could see the value in having the number of units.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll provide any information to the authority that they need.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any other comments or questions?
Yeah, my only other question is, should we ask the applicant for an official request to evaluate the 9 EDUs, or do we just rely on the meeting minutes for this meeting to document that?
I can make an official request
Does
through a
that
letter.
make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All righty. If there's no more questions or comments, the motion before us is to grant the request from Urban Engineers for proposed subdivision at 2 Smith Road, providing a letter to SBA allowing the authority to evaluate capacity for collection, conveyance, and treatment of wastewater that would be generated by development of this parcel, and further authorize the township manager to draft and send this letter to SBA.
Conditioned upon the applicant submitting a letter to the township memorializing this request.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Supervisor Sachs makes the motion. I will make the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I assume the motion mentioned 9 lots, but, yeah, no, I don't remember.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is Land Messer, 16 Big Road.
That can be tabled.
Okay, we're going to table that for this evening. Okay, next is Melbourne Hills subdivision, financial security release number 1. Carol?
Thank you. So the interior site work has continued, including a water line installation. We recently reviewed a set of plans with the corrected site boundary and new road names early in July. We're awaiting a resubmission. And Toll Brothers tonight is requesting a reduction in the amount of financial security to reflect site construction work completed to date. Following a detailed review of the completed work and requested quantities, we recommend a reduction of $2,420,053.42. This leaves a remaining security balance of more than $3 million. And the board would have received a detailed summary of the items completed and a certificate of recommendation in their packet.
Okay, does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. The motion before us this evening is to authorize escrow release number 1 in the amount of $2,420,053.42 verified by Value Engineering, memo dated July 30th of 2025. Can I get a motion?
Also move.
Supervisor Hexter makes the motion. The second?
I'll second it.
Supervisor Sachs makes the second. All of those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next on our agenda this evening is Lower Frederick Connections and Linkage Priorities Update Adoption.
Okay, so I apologize, you guys didn't get a summary for this, but I was directed to get the recommendation of our planner, which you do have in your packet. He drafted a letter as far as how we proceed with this update. And on page 2, Montgomery County Planning Commission recommends adopting the Lower Frederick Connections and Linkage Priority Update as an appendix to the Township Comprehensive Plan. And then it spells out what we will need to do as far as final draft, which you guys have had, but there'll be a 45-day public review period. It'll go back in front of the Planning Commission again, just to reaffirm, as this was their recommendation to forward to the board in the first place. And then this will go out to the municipalities and entities around us. That's listed in the memo, which is several. There'll be an open public comment period for over this 45 days. We'll address any of the public comments. So the advertising, the board must advertise a public hearing to adopt the plan pursuant to public notice. The public hearing must be advertised 2 weeks prior to that meeting. And then after the 45-day public comment period, the board must hold a public hearing pursuant to public notice. The hearing may be conducted as a portion of a regularly scheduled public meeting. And at that time, the board can choose to adopt. So if this is the wish of the board to proceed this way, then I believe tonight I'd just be looking for authorized to advertise. So I would just be looking for authorization to advertise the plan and mail it out to the communities, entities listed in the memo dated August 5th, or I guess we can make the reference to this memo as part of the motion.
Does anyone have any questions or comments on this? Is there anyone that thinks this is a good idea? Do we want some more time to think about it? Don't want to think about it? Does this make sense?
I think we talked about this in some detail, either the last meeting or the meeting before. So I think it's just a matter of kind of formalizing it and attaching it to the comp plan. So I don't need any more discussion, but that's just.
Makes complete sense to me. Like Marla said, we did discuss it, so I don't have an objection to moving forward with that.
No, I mean, I think, the comp plan covered a lot of ground that comp plans need to do. And then there, obviously, when you do something like that, there are going to be areas that need to be filled in finer detail. And I think this really helps in that area. I just have one comment on how we go about doing this. I know you need to distribute copies to neighboring municipalities. So I'm going to make a request based on my personal experience. When Upper Frederick did their comp plan, they sent out one written copy to each neighboring municipality. It just so happened that was in August, September of 2020. I had an accident where I broke my neck and wasn't able to come here for 2 months. Little did I know that in my box in the office was a copy of the comp plan that nobody ever saw, that I didn't know existed. So our township wasn't able to review it and comment on it. And quite honestly, I took a lot of heat for it. People thought I was hiding something, and I was kind of disgusted with the way the township behaved, or some people did. So please don't, however it gets sent, make sure that it gets there. to more than just one person. I'm apologize, I wasn't able to come home for a couple of months because I couldn't tolerate a long car ride. But let's not hold up, business because of something like that.
I know in most cases, so we can do that with like the standard kind of receipt mailing, but I can also email most of these entities. I can make sure the email gets to the township manager or multiple entities within those municipalities, along with the hard copy.
Yeah, just make sure that it's gotten, it's been received, and, the people who need to see it, planning, I guess it was the planning commission or whoever, that they have time to digest it. And I guess under law, you have to submit a written copy, maybe. I don't know, but
Yeah, in this day and age, we kind of have to do what is necessary to meet the state law.
Right.
And then what actually works. And so, in this case, I would recommend that we mail everything out.
Right.
So we have proof that we did, meet those requirements, while at the same time, yes, I think sending everything via email to as many people as we want, managers, whatever, is a much more effective way. And it's a lot easier for them to then distribute it to their folks via email.
so we can either just send them a download link or something where they can get an electronic copy of it.
Yes.
Okay.
This is a much smaller document than a comp plan,
Okay.
so we should be able to just email it directly.
All right, I just don't want somebody to be in the position I was in. Wasn't fun.
Okay. If no one has any objection with moving forward with this process, Peter, if you could read off a motion for us, thank you.
I think the easiest way to do this would be a motion authorizing the staff to start the adoption process as set forth in the Township Planner's memorandum of August 5th, 2025.
Okay. Can I get a motion, please? I will make that motion. Is there a second?
Chuck Geiser will second.
Supervisor makes the second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Okay, next on our agenda this evening is the resolution for the non-uniform handbook update adoption.
So at your July 22nd meeting, the board consensus was to adopt this at this meeting. And the update that's been provided did account for Peter's pension language, which I know came up before the last meeting. So I'd be looking for a motion to adopt the resolution 2025 R-17, approving the updated non-uniform handbook that will go into effect January 1st, 2026.
Okay, do any of the supervisors have any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. Okay, the motion before us this evening is to adopt Resolution 2025 R-17, approving the updated non-uniform handbook that will go into effect on January 1st of 2026. Can I get a motion?
Also move.
Okay, Supervisor Hexter made the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Supervisor Sachs made the second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion moves forward unanimously. Last on our agenda this evening is the presentation for the mid-year fiscal 2025 budget review.
Okay, so this is the 2025 fiscal year mid-year review. And just as a pre-note, I did this one a little different than I've done them in the previous years. Was especially since I'm always throwing out several numbers per month with the treasurer's report. So hopefully this will be a little more informative than just numbers. Of course, we're starting out with numbers, but so for all funds, the township has outperformed its revenue budget by $215,897. And we've outperformed, which is mean we're under budget by $162,791. For revenue, for all funds, we've received $2.671 million, which is 8.8% over budget. Expenses, we've expended $2.455 million, which is 6.2% under budget. So all funds balance net income. So fund balance, including the CDs, $4.877 million with a net income of $215,897. The fund balance breakdown. So these are the general operating funds, which is our general and sewer funds. Fund balance of $3.193 million with a net income of negative $35,040. Our special revenue funds, which would be liquid fuels and the ARPA COVID Relief Fund, fund balance of $523,380, net income of $104,809. Our capital project funds, which would be our open space, sewer capital, and capital reserve, fund balance of $602,275, net income of $308,919. And then the fiduciary funds are our general fund developer escrows and our sewer fund on-site escrows, and that's a balance of $558,742. Summary as far as general fund, the township has outperformed its revenue budget by $93,000, and we've underperformed the expense budget by $59,015. In summary, as far as the general fund, our revenues continue to exceed expectations, primarily with earned income tax and permits. Expenses have remained relatively in line with our 2025 budget. We did use a 5% inflation rate for our operation and maintenance costs. The third-party zoning building has been our primary cause for exceeding the budget. The board also approved township building and public works equipment / machinery repairs that have added to the performance. And we had an unexpected pre-oil and chip prep road work that was taken out of the general fund instead of liquid fuels. The CDs we did last year, in August of last year, we did put more funds in those CDs than we'd previously done, and we continue to keep them, allowing for more revenue from interest for fund dollars not currently in use. So as far as summary for the general capital fund, the township received a new 2025 police interceptor through a DCD grant secured by State Senator Pennycook. We also received an anonymous donation of $100,000 for future land purchase for the Public Works building. As part of the general fund CIP, the Spring Mount sidewalk installation / culvert replacement project was completed. Oh, and I've got, of course, that anonymous donation there twice. Apologize for that. The board authorized the purchase of connexes for the Public Works facility and installation of a new fence, which borders along the trail in Coble Park. The fence has not been completed yet. There was a traffic light sensor that was installed at Route 29 in Spring Mount Road. Ongoing projects that are still on for 2025 would be video cameras for the township buildings, permit property management software, and a new door lock system for the township building. Mower that is budgeted is not planned to be purchased in 2025. Adjustments, or what I'm calling the general fund adjustments. As part of the 2025 budget discussion, it was mentioned about utilizing a third party for mowing. Quotes were secured by Public Works, and estimated man hours for mowing was determined in an attempt to get an estimated cost for Public Works to do the work. The board, after providing that data and having the discussion, the board gave direction to create a request for proposal for the mowing of the township properties. As part of that discussion, to move forward, the board reviewed the following line items within the general fund, which was primarily the total labor for public works, as we did have budgeted for a hiring of a public works member. As part of that, in lieu of hiring another public works employee that was budgeted this year, along with purchasing of a new mower and to allow public works to complete more road projects that continue to be a struggle during the summer, fall months because of their mowing obligations, the board decided to advertise that RFP and ultimately chose a third party for the mowing of township properties. As a follow-up to moving forward with the third party mowing, the board reviewed the public works priority list of projects for this year that could fit under the remaining budget in the general fund. The line items within the general fund that was reviewed was 438.200, 438.210, and 438.450, which allowed for 25,000 available funds for public works projects. And these projects were the Foy Park playground repair, which that money came out of the ARPA funds, the repair, replacement of 10 inlets around the township, and why am I drawing a blank? The repair of Simmons Road Bridge. This is just the handy dandy pie chart. Per usual, over 80% of our revenue comes from earned income tax and real estate taxes. You can kind of see the percent breakdown through half the year for revenue line items. Expense breakdown. All right. Any questions so far? All right. So summary for the sewer fund. The sewer fund underperformed its revenue budget by $47,414 and underperformed its expense budget by $22,083. For summary, revenue continues to fall below expectations, primarily with our sewer rental use and our tapping fees. Expenses have remained over for most line items, with supplies, utilities, and repairs continuing to be the weakest performers with our 2025 budget. We did use the same 5% inflation rate for the O&M costs, but it does appear we might have to be a little more aggressive or conservative, however you want to look at it, as far as what we budget for 2026 moving forward for these costs. I also want to add in, we used 5% inflation rate for both of our general fund capital improvement fund and the sewer fund capital. There was some redundancy that was created as the Zieglerville Sewer Extension Planning Project was budgeted in both the sewer fund and sewer capital fund. Unfortunately, that's not been enough to kind of swing the needle in a positive direction as far as expenses goes for the sewer fund. We did also, the sewer system I&I project, as we reported earlier, was started, and that bill was paid in this last billing cycle. As far as summary for the sewer capital fund, as I stated, the Zieglerville Sewer Extension Plan project was started. It is expected this will be completed so that we can apply for an LS Gray grant later this year. And we still are we're on our timeline to have that done. Ongoing projects still on for 2025 would be video cameras for the sewer plant and pump stations. Projects that may get carried over for 2026 would be the UV service here for the headworks building and an awning for the flood barriers. Funds were set aside for the Act 537 main road study, which will need to be budgeted in the general fund CIP. That was a mistake that I didn't catch when we adopted the budget last year. So, also, the 50% tapping fees received between 2023 and 2025 will be transferred from the sewer fund as part of the decision by the board during the 2025 budget process. And this is just the revenue breakdown. As the board's aware, we get most of our funding for in normal years from our sewer rental use charge. Expense-wise, once again, as the board's aware, debt service usually runs around 50%. and then the operation and maintenance of the sewer plant, the sewer system. All right, liquid fuels. Are any questions on the sewer fund?
So the extension planning, I know Bob still has a little bit of work to do, right, with the test borings?
Yes.
And then the plan is, once that comes back, he can finalize his recommendation to us, right?
Correct. He needs the boring to be able to create the cost estimate for the project.
Right, and then our plan is to be in position so that we can submit an application for an LSA grant, which would be in November of this
Yes,
year.
that would be due, we'd have to have that submitted by the end of November.
Perfect, thank you.
Or, yes. Yes, Thanksgiving, yeah. It was Thanksgiving weekend I did the last year, as I recall. Any other questions? Okay, liquid fuels, ARPA relief funds. Oops. As part of the 2025 oil and chip project this year, we didn't account for the pre-project prep work, which ended up coming out of the general fund. In the future, we will need to account for that in a more timely fashion so that we can use liquid fuel funds for that. The prep work would have needed to be pre-approved by PennDOT, which can take up to 1 to 2 months. As the remainder of the ARPA funds continues to decrease, we did complete the Spring Mount Sidewalk project and the Foy Park playground repair. Also adding a savings to the general fund CIP was not receiving the grant for the Cobble Park Rehabilitation Phase 1 project, and those funds were reallocated as I had to allocate our ARPA funds by the end of April to the federal treasury. The last remaining project to finish will be the township building generator connection project. We have received the switch panel. The connection from the generator to the building along with the switch installation still needs to take place in 2025. Our open space fund, dollars this year were contributed to the county for the ag preservation of 8 Sepp Road. I believe that was 38 acres. Funds have been allocated for the Barber and Hilbert properties, which are being primarily funded through grants. The current available funds are over $300,000 as the Open Space Committee continues to review potential properties and projects.
Is that 300 not including the Barber set aside money?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as in was the July report, I think we're at like 322 or something, I believe. Any questions?
I have none at this time, but thank you very much.
So in general, it seems like for majority of the funds, our revenue is exceeded what we expected, and our expenses are below what we had budgeted.
Primarily, as noted, the sewer fund, it's
Right.
sludge hauling, utilities, it's chemicals. It seems to be where we may have to be a little more aggressive. We don't have that kind of purchasing as much on the general fund side. So that's, and we did over budget a bit for the sewer rental increase. So we have been running behind on that. We're catching up slowly as far as that difference getting smaller every month.
Is there any, and I'm just blue skying here, for some of these things, like you just mentioned, the sludge hauling and the chemicals, is there any way that we can partner with other groups to get sort of, kind of like what we did with the cable stuff that Peter had us involved with, where we got together with other municipalities and maybe did some volume type of business with these people to get a better rate?
I'd have to look into that. I will say it's not something like the Montgomery County Consortium handles a lot of those type of things, like salt, fuel, sledge hauling. Doesn't seem to be one of the things that they handle. I do know that our I do know our sledge hauling, we are up at the end of this year, so that's actually, I've already talked to Bob. We're gonna have to get that set up, so I guess I'll reach out to Shanksville Borough, you know, they've,
I mean, are we happy with our, dewatering and things in the sense that we're not paying to have water trucked out of here with the sludge?
as far as I know, as far as Tommy, Tommy, who's our sewer operator, is happy with the way it's going.
Yeah, if you could reach out to him and just get any recommendations on that. I know that was something that was discussed years ago and what they were doing and taking water off the top and sending it back through the system. And I, went down there and saw the setup. But, if there are some improvements that can be made that will save us money, maybe it'll be a hit now, but it'll save us money over the long term that we're not paying to have water shipped out. And I'm not sure that's what's happening, but, I would certainly think we'd want to think about doing something.
Yeah, I know that's part of obviously the I&I project for the system. I mean, I do know we get, when it does rain, and that's something that Public Works looks at, when we get a rain event, as far as the amount of additional flow. But as far as trying to do some kind of joint thing, I mean, SBA's been at this a good long while, so I'll reach out and see if they can give me some direction. And like I said, at least in the sludge hauling, we've got to renew our, we've got to get that request for proposal out, and that's something we're gonna have to do in the next few months. So it's good timing.
I concur with Supervisor Geiser that maybe we need to look at tightening up some of the costs on these items.
Yeah, I know this, just as a side, I know like the way the Public Works clean the tanks and stuff, that is like an ongoing goal, is to reduce what you're talking about, where we're not treating water. And, the way, as far as I'm told, and I'm not the subject matter expert, I'm not even close to being, that they seem to be satisfied enough, but I think there's always ways to try to improve.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Does anyone have any other questions or comments? If not, we're going to move on to public comment. Do we have anyone for public comment? Warren?
Is this on? So aside from the sewers, those numbers look pretty groovy. I know it's only half a year, but I'd like to congratulate the supervisors for making the right decision last year and not raising taxes.
Is there anyone on Zoom, Jason? Somebody raised their hand in the back? Oh, sure, come forward. Just state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Wendy Boyer, and I live at 10 Little Road, Zillsville, PA. So I'm here because I have a couple concerns with Township Manager. We are working on the project at Little Road, and the concerns I have is that the lack of communication with emails with the environmental design services. And the other concerns I have is the lack of respect. When I come in as a township resident, and I was in here 3 times to speak to Jason because I unfortunately do not know the policy or the procedures for the sewers. And when I was in here, the last time I was in here, I felt very threatened by him, and I would like to see if we could have the cameras from the 23rd produced, because I felt very upset, and I would like to have someone, if I have questions, to answer my questions, not yell and scream and be upset because I unfortunately do not know the sewer policies. So I know there's a couple things that the EDS has been asked from him, and we're just waiting for response. And that's my concerns.
Okay, thank you, Wendy. We'll look into that. Thank you.
You're gonna look at the cameras?
I'm going to confer with our township solicitor and move forward from there.
Thank you.
Okay, Brian Hill?
Yes, hi, good evening. Brian Hill, 11 Zieglerville Road. So I'd like to extend an additional comment that was made by Mr. Sachs, I believe it was the last Board of Supervisors meeting, regarding the issue of treating one group one way and another group another way. And what I mean by that is if we go back to the development that is under land development right now, which is now Toll Brothers on 29. That property has gone through multiple hands. The 537 was designed back, I guess, 2014, 2015. My house was included in that. A pumping station was included in that in the Swamp Creek. That pumping station was removed from the 537 in 23, I believe. I went back to the minutes looking at the revision. What I find ironic is that during a meeting, I mentioned the pumping station, and one of the Board of Supervisors mentioned, do you not realize how expensive it is to maintain and service a pumping station? That pumping station would have serviced multiple people that have been struggling for years. But somehow this board approved an extension, and please forgive me for anyone who lives on Riverside, Babington. It's not your fault. But the fact is that you put a pumping station up there. So I don't understand how a pumping station on Riverside and Babington's project is okay and we can serve and maintain it, but we can't service and maintain one down here on the Swamp Creek. There's only one reason, is because that group did not want the building that is currently going on to continue and anything beyond that. Also, in this Riverside and Babington extension, you made the people who are on the plant and who are paying taxes for their sewer to pay for that extension. You took out additional money over and above the sewer plant remodeling project to do that. And you put those, quote unquote, about $2 million on the people who are now paying for their sewer. So when I was told, when I had to consider my house to put it online, that anything that I have to take from my house to somewhere, whether it's a manhole or something, that's on me. Well, what happened to those people up there having to take care of that? Again, I apologize for anybody that lives on rivers. I'm not asking you to pay any more than you have to. We all have our bills and stuff like that. But again, here's the idea. This township tends to do one thing for one group and another thing for another group. That can't continue, and it will not continue. Because in November, we're going to make a decision. And that decision is going to change this board, and that stuff's got to stop. I'm not asking for any response to this, but I want this in a public record, because I have been talking about this for 21 years, and nothing has happened yet. You're talking about using grinder pumps, the grinder pumps in this new development. Half of those houses are on grinder pumps. That's going to cause more cost to the sewer plant, because that stuff that's going from there is richer than the stuff that would normally go through the pipe because it's sitting in the pipe. All of this stuff. These are being made by boards that are doing it for one reason alone, is to stop building and going out that direction. You're okay with it being in this area on the other side of 29, but not out there. And that's why that pumping station on the Swamp Creek was not approved. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your comment.
So I will respond briefly. I offered last time this came up to sit down with people and have a discussion. Brian, I'm offering that to you. You can call me or we'll find a place to meet and we can discuss all these things, and I will tell you what I know. I'll tell you what I know is true, and I'll tell you what I know isn't true. And I would be happy to do that for you.
I would also ask anytime, and I've looked in the minutes, because when Board of Supervisors comment back, those comments are not placed in the minutes. That is part of a public record, because the person that made the comment to me, that's not in the record, because that person specifically, and I'm not going to mention who it is, but it's 185. But the fact is that that comment was never recorded just like Mr. Yeiser's comment here, those comments should be placed in the record. It is part of the public meeting. I don't understand why supervisors, if you're going to comment, they got to be in the record. Thank you.
This is Marla. I just want to correct for everybody one of the things you said. So the decision to borrow $10 million, 7.5 for the sewer plant and 2.5 for the Babington Riverside and Fulmer extension, that was made by boards over a time period from 2013, 2014, and 2015. So I think there's only one person from back then who's on the board now. I'm not even sure if you were still there, if you were on then, Terry. But that was not this board that made the decision to borrow that money. So accusing us is inaccurate. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else on Zoom? Anyone from the public would like to make a comment? Okay, we're going to move on to supervisor comment. Terry?
I'll make a quick one. Positive note. Last week, we had the 3rd annual blood drive in honor of Travis Ryder. Similar to last year's numbers, we had 23 donors with 18 units collected. Special thanks to, Miller Keystone for coming down, and special thanks to Becky for basically doing everything. They've changed a lot of their policies. They wouldn't let us actually help them set up this year, so it was they were here taking the blood. We weren't allowed to be in here for a lot of it, but anyways, it was very successful. Thank you to everyone who came out to collect 18 units again this year. Thank you.
That is super positive. Thank you, Terry. Okay. If there's no more comment, this meeting is adjourned.